I feel like a lot of you guys are gonna relate to what I'm about to say. Genuinely, my body dysmorphia with social media is at an all-time high. I have good habits, but I still look at myself and will be like, oh my God, that is the megalodon shark. There is this unrealistic body standard that literally cannot be achieved without surgery. And I'm not saying if you get surgery, that's bad, but like so many of us that haven't had like surgery will look at our bodies and be like, ew, I hate my body. I feel like I look at myself and I just want to achieve this body that literally is physically impossible because I'm like, I want to have curves, but I want a tiny waist and I want my arms to be absolutely tiny. And when I stand like this, I don't want any arm fat. Like, do you know what I'm saying? It's not real. Anyway, I'm just rambling. Do you guys get what I'm saying? I don't know. I just wanted to share this because like, I want to have more positive self-talk. I want to like really be kinder to myself when it comes to looking in the mirror and seeing what I see. It just makes me sad because it's like, when will I ever be happy? Will I ever be happy? I don't want to get to like 30 and look back at photos of me now and think, oh my God, I actually looked good. Like, why did I not appreciate how I looked? Honestly, sometimes I'm like, as if I spend this much of my day looking at myself and focusing on my looks. It drives me insane, I just want to be kinder to myself because I don't want to spend every single day worried about my weight and how big my waist is. Like, that's just not how I want to live my life. You know what I mean?
Social media be getting to me sometimes in terms of like the body image aspect, and it's crazy because I know myself, like, these are Photoshop pictures of other women and edits, but then sometimes I gotta ask, right? I got a nice little plump, small titties, waist is on regular, but it's like when you see those things on your page and stuff, it kind of just makes it seem as if the body type you originally have is not like thick enough, even though you thick. But then seeing a different type of thick, it's like, damn, maybe I don't got no ass. Like, I don't know. I'd literally be trying to like not fall into it, but that's all I fucking see. I see these thick ass bitches, fat ass, small waist, and it's like, I'm not saying I wish I was dumb. It's just that motivation, like, damn, I gotta hit the gym. Like, when people be like, oh, you know, you got a nice body, that ass T, I'm like, oh, thank you, but I know deep down, like, I want it to be, you know, fatter, you know. It's the beauty standards sometimes, it definitely with me. You know how, like, there's certain girls who can just go viral off of just being just overly pretty. All they can do is just post a pic like this. And, bro, that, like, thousands of likes. Me, I have to build my fucking way up brick by motherfucking brick. Like, my page, I did not go viral off of being pretty. I went viral from talking about shit. Like, you know, I had to build myself up. And it's so crazy because it's like the influence is real. Like, for example, most of the pretty girls who go viral, their nose, they got that little bridge on their nose, you know, eyes is like perked, like everything about them is tea. Like, I just really love that for them. But for us though, we gotta build our way up. I think social media be getting to me sometimes in terms of like the body image aspect.
Let's stop pretending this was just some harmless body trend. It wasn't. What happened with Bbl culture was bigger than a popular shape or celebrity face. It changed the atmosphere. It changed what women were being compared to. It changed what started getting rewarded over and over again until one exaggerated silhouette began to feel less like a passing trend and more like the body people were expected to measure themselves against. That matters because once one look starts dominating social media, dating culture, influencer culture, fashion, and even ordinary conversations, it does not stay superficial for long. It starts getting into people's heads, into the way they see themselves in mirrors, into the way they take photos, into what they think looks good, what they think needs fixing, and what they start calling normal. And that is where they stop being entertainment. A body trend became a psychological environment.
I feel like social media has played such a huge role in the way that women see themselves. It's made women way more self-conscious. It's made women feel like they have to sexualize themselves more when they post themselves online. There's a lot more pressure for women to be perceived as beautiful rather than also like intelligent, because everyone is so superficial and cares more about what they look like rather than what the they know. And obviously I feel like there has always been this undertone of misogyny, even in early 2000s with like the Girls Gone Wild era and all that stuff. It's just gotten so much worse with social media.
No one made me change my style of training or my diet. No one forced me. I think I just scrolled a little too long and I forgot to see the beauty in me.
So ever since being a part of the plastic surgery community, the aesthetic industry, there's one topic that I feel really passionate about. I'm not going to get into too much depth about it, but it's generally the idea that I'm seeing so many patients with body dysmorphic disorder, and the fact that when they go on social media and look at other people's accounts, we're all just looking at everyone else thinking that, oh my God, look how amazing everyone else looks. But here's the thing. Every couple of days, I get a DM or a message from someone who on Instagram says, hey, I need a rhinoplasty. Hey, I need a neck lift. Hey, I need a facelift. And I'm going through their pictures. I'm scrolling through, and they look incredible. They look really good. Their face doesn't look like they need a rhinoplasty, a facelift, or a neck lift. And I sent them a quick message, and I'm like, hey, I'm just scrolling through your pictures and your nose looks incredible or your face looks incredible. I don't think you need anything done. And then they're like, no, wait, let me show you what I really look like. And so then they send me the unedited pictures. And I'm going to tell you right now, most people look completely different. They do not look like how you see them on Instagram or on social media. Most of these images are edited. Most of these videos are edited. I am shocked. When they send me what they really look like, then I'm like, okay, I see it. I get it. I get why you're interested in undergoing a rhinoplasty or why you're undergoing a neck lift or why you want a chin implant. Most of these images are just been heavily edited, and it's just a negative spiral for everyone because these patients, potential patients, have, they're looking at themselves, they have body dysmorphic disorder. And then it just is a negative cycle because other people look at them and say, wow, look how perfect they look. I want to look like that. And it just becomes this negative, repetitive cycle of where we just look at everyone else's pictures and think, wow, they look incredible. But the reality of it is they don't look anything like their Instagrams.
Okay, excuse my weird background. I'm in my bathroom. I was getting ready to get undressed for bed. But I really thought it was important for me to say this. There are so many women on my comments who say to me, oh my God, I wish I had your confidence. And that is actually a little bit offensive to me. I know it's not meant to be offensive from anybody that it's coming from. I know it's meant to be a compliment. But in saying that, you are insinuating that I have some reason why I shouldn't be confident. And yet I am confident despite that.
Most women affected by this never had surgery. That is what people miss. You did not need to book a procedure for this culture to reach you. You only need a phone, a feed, a few months of watching the same body type get praised like it was the answer to everything. That is how standards spread. They do not stay with the women at the center of the trend. They travel outward and start shaping everybody else's sense of where they stand. Suddenly, being attractive was not enough. Being fit was not enough. Being natural was definitely not enough if your version of natural did not come with the right proportion in the right places. And social media kept repeating the message. This gets attention. It gets desire, praise. This gets called body goals. After a while, it stops looking like content and starts behaving like conditioning. That is where a trend becomes pressure.
What I realize is no one used to natural bodies no more. Like nowadays, if you thick, if you got a big butt, you supposed to have no stomach. Like that doesn't go together. BBL culture is so sick and took over everything that nobody knows what natural bodies look like anymore. And then if you're a skinny girl and you don't really got a lot of butt and you got a little shape, you expect to go get a BBL because you need to have.
Because we see so many women getting their body done, we are now holding other women to that standard, and that is crap. That is ridiculous. Social media has a set of beauty standards that no woman will ever truly be able to meet. No matter how good you think another girl or another woman look, there's some other women looking at them like, she have a nice ass, but her titty them too small.
I'm about to be blatantly honest with you all. I just came from the gym and I was thinking, I was in deep thought. And I can admit that social media has affected my mind. It has affected me in a way that it's my arousal to certain things has been manipulated by social media. Like, I follow a lot of fitness influencers. I follow a lot of beautiful women that are very fit. And now my mind, when I see these things all the time, my mind is, now it's like I'm only aroused when I see those type of things. So in my reality, I'm going to be blatantly honest. Most women that I encounter, I'm not really like intrigued by them because they don't look like what I'm seeing on the internet. I can admit that wholeheartedly. And I'm always in the gym. I'm working out. I'm always trying to look my best. And in reality, most women do not look like the women that I see on social media. And I'm not talking about the women with the big old bubble booties and the big old, chest. No, I'm just talking about women that are just in shape, like just in great shape, nice bodies, nice faces. Believe it or not, I do not see that a lot in my reality. It's just kind of rare. And then those women that you do see, being honest, most of them tend to date athletes, rappers. That's just what I see. Those women are really not very easy to, get access to. I would say that. So I find myself just being completely okay with being single. And it's like, I'm not gonna, that's what I want. Of course, the mindset has to be great as well, but I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. That's what my mind has been molded to want, honestly. An in shape, beautiful woman. And I'm sure most guys want that.
The real problem was not the body shape itself. It was the kind of beauty mark this created, because now the average woman was no longer being compared to beauty in the same old sense. She was being compared to enhancement, to surgery, to editing, to shapewear, to angles, to money, to maintenance, to bodies that often took a full system to produce and then got presented as if they were just another version of confidence. That is a nasty trick. It moves the goalpost and then acts like nothing moved. And once that happens, your ordinary body can start feeling unfinished for no reason other than the culture around you got louder and more artificial. That is where the damage really sits. Not only in the women who changed their bodies, but in the women who quietly started believing they were falling short simply because they still looked like themselves.
Men started seeing very perfect pictures of women in a particular way. And then what happens is women see what men like. This is what men don't realize. Their simple double tap directs women. So what happened is every girl that was getting more and more popular on Instagram became the framework for the young girls that was watching her boy like pictures. Bodies morphing. We all look the same now. I'm saying even myself, like we do. I get all my makeup tips and stuff.
I go to the gym like everyone else
does. Like everybody else does and stuff. And so we morphed into the same kind of person. And what's happening is we're so distracted by that what happens is when we see normal, we see it as unattractive. Normal becomes unattractive. So a normal body is unattractive. Stretch marks is unattractive. A man that doesn't work out is unattractive.
I got a phone when I was 13, I believe, a smartphone. I had a flip phone here or there. But when I got my smartphone, I mean, it made everything worse. I mean, I followed social media stars that I grew up watching on Disney Channel or on Nickelodeon, and I would see how skinny they are, that they can sing a certain way, that their hair is like a certain way. You know, Britney Spears and Victoria Justice and Dove Cameron and all these people that I grew up watching on TV. And I wanted to look like them. I wanted to be like them because they were considered to be the most beautiful women, to be the icon. That's what you want to look like. That's how you want to be perceived by other people. And so I would just try to change anything I could about myself to match what they were. And in that way, I had so many insecurities, knowing that this isn't truly who I am. I don't really look like that. I don't really feel like this. But social media has really just plagued men deal with it a lot as well, but it really has just set these standards for women where airbrushed skin, Facetune, photoshopped waists. And, people follow these celebrities and they don't even realize that 90% of the stuff that's on social media is fake.
She removed 22 ribs from her body and was left with only 4.
I am so tired of being reduced to how I look. Like, nothing I do matters if I don't look good doing it. And it's exhausting as a woman to not only have to be productive and successful and, working hard, you also have to look good doing it. Why? Okay, I'll be honest and I'll be very vulnerable with you guys for a second. Don't judge me. But I used to not go to things simply because I didn't have time to look good being there. I didn't have time to be super intentional about my outfit. I didn't have time to maybe do my makeup. So I would just not show up because my appearance mattered more to me than actually, getting the benefit of this event. And that used to happen to me. When I realized it was a problem was when I would skip out on Islamic events and lectures and things that I wanted to go to because I didn't have the right abaya, I didn't have the right look. I don't have time to wear concealer today. I'll be late. So I'd rather just not go because I don't have it in me to do up how I look right now. I don't have in me to look presentable. Okay. Very embarrassing to admit, but I realized that's a problem. Bilqis, you don't want to go to Jama because what? Because you have a new breakout? For what exactly? What? It's really silly when you say it out loud, but it is a feeling that I know that other people experience as well, feeling like you're not in uniform or you don't feel presentable enough to be out in public, okay? And I had that experience today as well, where I came home from work, worked a little bit on my business, and I was tired, but I had enough energy in me to at least attend this Islamic series that I have been really benefiting from and I've really loved. I was apprehensive because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm still in my work clothes and I haven't had time to really decompress and transition into the next thing and wear a new outfit. And no, I didn't have time to do the whole Hannah Montana thing. I just had to keep moving and I wanted to benefit from this. And honestly, I completely forgot about how I looked when I arrived there. But someone that I know saw me and the first thing that, came up was, you look so tired today. And immediately I remembered, oh, how I look. Right. And I really wanted to cry because it's silly and I'm also on my period, so leave me alone. But also because I can't just exist as a girl in a space without also thinking about how I'm presenting.
The question is, what is perfect? As women, society has always put unrealistic expectations on us to just be perfect, to look perfect. If you're blessed with curves, someone is going to say you're fat. If you're blessed with skinny jeans, someone's going to say you have an eating disorder. If you're smiley, someone's going to say you look fake. If you don't smile, someone's going to say you're stuck up. So you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If you choose to get some cosmetic help, you're fake, your features aren't real. But if you choose not to even do anything to yourself, then you don't look after yourself.
This is usually where people get lazy and start acting like every woman who wanted that look must have been shallow. No, that's too easy to say. A lot of women were not chasing curves because they were empty-headed or they wanted to. They were reacting simply to a culture that kept offering the same reward over and over again. More attention, more validation, more compliments, more visibility, more of that feeling that maybe finally you would be enough. So yes, of course some people wanted it. What is harder to talk about is what happens after. Because even when someone reaches the look, peace is not guaranteed. Pressure often stayed. It just changes shape. Now there is maintenance. People will get to compare you at a new level. You now have the fear of losing the body, the fear of aging out of the trend, and the fear that all the value you just gained is still conditional. That is why this was never only about surgery. It was about the emotional labor of trying to keep up with a beauty culture that keeps selling insecurity and calling it empowerment.
She removed 22 ribs from her body and was left with only 4. And now she's going viral again because people believe her BBL is starting to go wrong. Just a few months ago, she shocked the internet with her extreme transformation. The tiny waist, the exaggerated curves, the dramatic before and after. It was the kind of image that spread fast because it looked almost unreal. But now the conversation has completely changed. Instead of people reacting to the transformation itself, they're reacting to what may be happening after it. Reports circulating online claim she is now dealing with possible complications involving her BBL, and that has turned her story from viral body modification into a warning sign. What makes this hit so hard is how extreme the original procedure already was. Removing that many ribs just to force a certain shape was always going to leave people asking, how far is too far? Now, with new health concerns being discussed, that question feels even heavier. This is the side of cosmetic surgery that social media rarely glamorizes. Everybody sees the tiny waist, the curves, the reveal, but not enough people talk about the maintenance, the risk, the pain, and the long-term consequences that can show up later.
I did get a BBL, you guys know this, and after having Apollo, it did change, and so that's something that I was struggling with, and I also just wish that I loved myself a lot more before getting my BBL because I feel like I had a perfect body. I just had a mom pouch, and I feel like that's something that's really hard to lose. It takes a lot of like discipline and working out, but even then sometimes you really just don't lose that baby fat. And so during that time I was really just like struggling with my body postpartum. So everything just on top of that, reading the comments, it kind of just like made me very like sad.
Getting a BBL ruined my life. So I was a teenager in the 2010s when Instagram was new and like the it girls were Instagram models and all these girls started getting BBLs. The bigger your ass was, the more successful you were gonna be. I saw Kylie Jenner do it and I was like, oh my god, I need that. And I grew up watching like Kim K's butt like triple in size every year and I was like, I need to be her. All the men want her. The reason I'm not getting a boyfriend is because I don't have her butt. So when I got my money up in the 2020s, I spent $15,000 on a new ass, not realizing it was about to be my downfall. BBLs were straight up a trend. My life completely fell apart after I got one. First of all, I only fit in Fashion Nova. I could not fit in any nice, expensive clothes. Designer clothes, Aritzia, all the cute, clean girl clothes, they're meant for skinny girls. I could not get my butt into a pair of jeans for 2 years. I gained 30 pounds after my BBL. I was the heaviest I have ever been in my life. Because when you get a BBL, you can't gain like stomach fat anymore. And I didn't even realize I was gaining weight because it was all going to my butt. And then I woke up one day morbidly obese. I think what made me realize was my face got so fat. But that's not even the worst part. The way men treated me was so horrifying. I only attracted the broke, drug addicted, abusive losers. I did not attract anyone who was boyfriend material at all because my body was so over sexualized, you know what I'm saying? And the way I was forced to dress having a BBL, because you can't wear anything baggy and cute when you have a BBL, otherwise you look fat. You have to wear like skin tight clothes. and be half naked 24/7. Rich, sweet, classy, nice men aren't attracted to that when they see that walk into a bar or walk down the street. I had homeless people catcalling me and chasing me around. I would not get respect when I would walk into like Saks Fifth Avenue or designer store. Before I got like all my work done, people used to tell me I was pretty. My Uber driver would say, "Oh, you're so pretty." Random girls would tell me I was pretty. That completely stopped. It all stopped. And I got so depressed. I realized something had to change. So I got on Ozempic. I lost 30 pounds and like now can fit in like classier clothing and cover my body without looking like a cow. I stopped getting lip filler. I stopped dyeing my hair bleach blonde. I shrunk my butt to now if you saw me walking down the street, you would not think it was fake. I am treated so much better. I walk into a Chanel store and they actually walk up to me and help me shop. I am no longer getting sexually harassed everywhere I go. I have a really hot boyfriend. And people in general just started being nicer to me again.
I had a BBL and I 100% regret it. I had pretty drastic complications and now I have long-term side effects. It was honestly the worst pain I've ever been in and took a long time to recover. So to give you a backstory, I always had like a really flat ass and I was fine with it. And then I was dating a guy who had a lot of money and turned out I was like his side chick, but I had no idea. And I caught him with his girlfriend saying like, "Hi, I'm his girlfriend, who are you?" And she's like, "I'm his girlfriend." Where it turned out she had a BBL and he had paid for it and she was taking like 6 weeks off of being with him. So that's when he found me. And in that 6 weeks time of dating, like we talked about marriage and everything. So long story short, like she beat the crap out of him. They broke up. He chose me. And to forgive him, I was like, buy me a BBL. And never did I ever actually want a BBL. Never even thought about it until like that year because guys were such jerks to me and made me feel super self-conscious about my flat butt. I was also super skinny, like the most fit I could possibly be, and guys would still tell me I was big or they were used to dating smaller girls, and so really self-conscious about like having fat on my body. So I wanted like to get liposuction with the BBL. So because he offered to pay for it, I was like, shoot, I gotta get this thing quick. And so in 1 week, I made the appointment and got it done. That was obviously my first mistake because I didn't really research the doctor. I didn't really think it through. It was just kind of an impulse decision when I was like having a really low self-esteem moment. So I have the surgery. I don't have anyone to drive me home, which I ended up Ubering to a hotel that my mom we were having like a family reunion for a week. So I Uber there, and I was in so much pain. I was just like hyped up on painkillers, and like painkillers I'm really sensitive to. So I put ice packs on me and fell asleep with them on. Anyways, my skin ended up dying, which was basically like a 3rd-degree burn or something. I had to take off my compression suit and go to the hospital every single, like the Instacare, every single day and have my skin scraped as if I was a burn victim. They were honestly just trying to save my tissue because it was turning black and dying on my. So in that time is when I kind of realized like I should just see my own beauty and like realize I don't need all these things done. I was okay. I do now have like these 2 scars that turn red whenever I get too hot or like a hot tub. One's like a mosquito bite or like a bullseye, and the other one's the shape of Florida on both cheeks. So my butt will be like round and then have a little bit of a flat spot. Also when I run, I can feel the fat like hitting my body in an abdomen.
Hey guys, so I'm here to talk about my experience that I had with Lipo 360 and BBL recently. So I flew to Miami. My surgery date was March 27th. I went with Smart Plastic Surgery and I had Dr. Shanklin. He's an awesome doctor. I have nothing bad to say about him. So I went there to get Lipo 360 and BBL. And I was nervous, of course, going in and stuff like that, because you just never know like what's going to happen after these surgeries. So I prayed. So luckily I went out of surgery. Oh, my bad. Everything was well. But a day later, I was having complications. And when I say complications, it led me to be in a hospital. Like, it was real bad. So a day later, like, I was having a hard time breathing. I like was short of breath. My heart rate was so high. And I'm like, how is it high? And I'm just sitting here resting. And it was at 140 resting. So I'm like, something's not right. Like, is this normal to have short of breath? Things like that. So I didn't want to take no chances. So I went straight to the hospital. So the ambulance came, I went to the hospital. So when I went to the hospital, they immediately wanted to do like a CAT scan on me to be sure that there were no blood flowing through the lungs and stuff like that, or any blood clots. So they did that, and the first thing I'm like, just had surgery. I don't possibly lay on my butt. And they said, well, this is an urgent scan. We have to do it. So I had to get the scan. Luckily, no blood or anything like that, no blood clots. So they gave me fluids, ran through the IV, blah, blah, blah. But as I was lying there, it went even higher. And when I say higher, like it went to 175 just resting and sitting down. All the lights on the little thing or whatever, it was red. I was scared. I was crying. It took them a minute to come in the room. I'm like, what are you doing, like on TikTok or whatever, blah, blah, blah. I don't know, but it took them a minute to come to the room. So I was scared. I instantly called my mother, because I'm like, well, I don't know, it's going to be my last, time breathing. I don't know. It was really scary for me. I was there. It was me, and then my friend, she was there as well. But my mom, kids, and other family was at home. So I FaceTimed her. I tried to FaceTime my friend. And it was real scary, But fast forward, they was able to get it down. They gave me meds to help with the heart rate. But then the next day, I was still having the same problem. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, I was asking a few of the other girls who had surgery with me. I'm like, are y'all having shortness of breath or anything like that? And they all said no. So I'm like, why am I the only one having this problem? Like, what's going on with me? Like, I never had that type of problem. Like, what is going on with me? So I'm like real nervous, I got anxiety, all type of things. So the doctor really didn't give an explanation why. The tests came back okay. They did say that my iron level was low. My iron was at 7.7, which they said it's supposed to at least be at 11.5. So that kind of scared me. But I noticed that I did lose a lot of blood. And I'm thinking, like, why didn't they do a blood fusion on me, So I don't know, but it was a really scary experience. And then when I went back to Atlanta, I stayed in Miami for a week, and then I went to Atlanta April 1st, where I live at. And when I got back to Atlanta, I was still having complications. So I went back to the hospital, and they repeated the test again to be sure no blood got through the lungs or anything like that. So it's been real rough for me. Real rough.
I actually regret getting my BBL sometimes. I got a BBL back in 2021 in the middle of the pandemic, and the reason why I say I hate it sometimes is because the way that it's shaped is a little, I don't know. Don't get me wrong, like the body still be a little T a little bit, but in certain stuff it's giving real boxy. And I don't know. Like, I guess this is for, like, most people anyways. Like, it ain't even just people with BBLs. Like, if you just have a certain shape, certain things you're just not gonna look good in, And then, like, my expectation, like, I don't know exactly what I expected myself to look like. Like, I wasn't even shaped like what I thought I was gonna look like. Not only that, but like the weight gain, like when you get your body done and you realize that like you really you start doing certain things, thinking, drinking and eating certain things that you feel like you couldn't have done before because your body already where you needed to be. But it catches up with you, and it catches up with you fast. After a year, like I was over 200 pounds. No, I'm dragging it. I wasn't 200 pounds. I was probably like 185, but That's close enough to me.
What made this trend so powerful was not just the shape, it was the promise attached to it. The promise that this body would make life easier, that it will make you more wanted, more admired, more secure, more feminine, more enough. That promise is what really spread. And for a lot of women, the result was not freedom. It was more comparison, more body awareness, more pressure, more distance from the idea that the untouched self could ever simply be fine. That is why this conversation is bigger than BBLs. Because once culture starts rewarding one enhanced version of womanhood again and again, even people who never go near surgery still end up living under that standard. That changes mirrors. That changes confidence. It changes how people carry themselves in private. And that should be taken more seriously than it usually is. Do you think BBL culture gave women confidence, or did it quietly make insecurity more normal? Say what you really think in the comments, and keep watching The Ugly Truth if you want the part of the conversation people usually skip.